What's the best time of the day to get on the roller coasters at Alton Towers to ensure your queue time is as low as possible? Alton Towers is not a cheap day out. As soon as you enter the park, the clock is ticking down. I'm here to offer a little research so that you can get on all the roller coasters with the lowest possible queue times and make the most of your day. Hey, this is Stu from Out and Back Travel. I make videos like this one to help you get the most out of your own theme park adventures. Coming up in this episode, let's crack getting on all the roller coasters at Alton Towers with the lowest possible queue times. Okay, in this one we're going to discuss the best time of the day to do each of the roller coasters at Alton Towers. But firstly, let's go into a little background theory. As an annual pass holder for many years and even working at the park for 6 years, I'm quite the connoisseur, darling, when it comes to all things Alton Towers. And believe it or not, there is actually a pattern to how the queue times build up and fall throughout the day, and it's based on 3 factors. Firstly, the coaster's popularity. This affects how many people join the queue, so Smiler and Wicker Man are currently the most popular coasters. Secondly, the roller coaster's capacity affects how the line moves up. Due to how many people the ride can process, for example Spinball Whizzer, which seats 4 people at a time, versus Oblivion, which sends 32 people onto the ride each time the dispatch button is pressed. This factor will affect how much the line is going to move up and process all the people once they have joined the line. And thirdly, the location affects when people get to the ride to join the queue. For example, Spinball Whizzer is the first major roller coaster people will come to, whereas it will take a little longer for people to reach 13 or Galactica. Of course, there's always quirks and every day is different. In general, midweek days will be quiet on the weekend, but this wouldn't be true in July when the midweek days would suddenly have an extra 20,000 kids on school trips. So it's always worth bearing this in mind. Each day is different and you need to have a little bit of flexibility in your approach to maximise your day. So make sure you download the official Alton Towers app. This will keep you up to date with the current queue times and also let you know if a ride has a temporary delay. The park is huge and you don't want to waste any time by zigzagging from one side of the park to the other. If you walk from Galactica to 13, that's going to take at least 15 minutes, if not longer, so recommend trying to do the coasters that are next to each other to get the most out of your day, which will also save a lot of physical exertion of walking from one end of the park to the other. So it is kind of important to have a strategy. When the park opens, I would choose either Dark Forest or Forbidden Valley. Sometimes due to safety checks, the rides may not open with the park. Again, the app will be your friend here and will give you the heads up before you commit to walk into that area. And let's check out the best times of the day to ride the roller coasters at Alton Towers. 13 is a morning coaster. This is a good coaster to do first thing in the morning. Although the queue line itself is a ridiculous length and it will take you a good 5 to 10 minutes to actually walk for it even when it's empty. As 13 has a 1.2 metre height restriction, it's got a bigger audience that can enjoy the coaster, as the smaller children can enjoy this one. When compared to the 1.4 metre roller coasters, this tends to mean once 13 has a queue, it kind of stays for the most of the day. And while you're riding 13, you may as well check out its neighbour Rita, which is also a morning coaster. The queue for Rita tends to build throughout the day. The capacity on Rita isn't as high as the other 1.4 metre coasters, so Rita will take longer to work through its crowd. As the Dark Forest is one of the furthest points from the entrance, you may see both 13 and Rita dip slightly towards the end of the day. Spinball Whizzer, midday. As the closest roller coaster to the park entrance, Spinball gets a big queue at the start of the day when the crowds come into the park and at the end of the day as people tend to head towards the exit. So you need to hit that middle of the day sweet spot when the general crowds are spread out into the main park. Smiler, early afternoon. The Smiler is currently one of the 2 most popular roller coasters. There's usually a sweet spot in the early afternoon when it's work for its morning rush and people have started to eat lunch. It's a good time to go for it. The queue line is obviously a big unpleasant cage underneath the ride, which is not pleasant to queue in. It is one where unfortunately you're going to have to suck it up and just join the queue at some point. I think this one's worth keeping an eye on the app. If it drops below 45 minutes, I would go for it. Oblivion, late afternoon. For regular day guests, Oblivion has historically been a one and done, so people don't tend to go back and re-ride it. She gets a heavy queue in the morning due to being the next door neighbour of the Smiler, and into the afternoon that will generally drop to a virtual walk-on. Okay, let's address the +1, Octonauts Roller Coaster Adventure, Ride Anytime. CBeebies Land is immensely popular. Not only is it in the children's area, it's also at the front of the park, so it tends to get a big queue at the start and end of the day as well. So just like Smiler and Wicker Man, unfortunately if you want to ride this coaster, you're going to have to suck it up and join the queue. Runaway Mine Train, Ride Anytime. Generally from the entrance, the queue line takes around 30 minutes. It does have quite a long train, so we'll move up a lot between cycles. This one is a very popular coaster as it has one of the lowest height requirements in the park and is the park's true family coaster. Galactica, start or end of the day. As it's one of the furthest points away from the main entrance, people tend to reach this part of the park in the middle of the day, so you may see a lunchtime swell in the queue length, but it shouldn't be too bad. There's a special entrance for hotel guests right next to Galactica, so this tends to swell the line first thing in the morning, so it wouldn't be one I would head to straight away, but early in the morning when that initial rush is gone, it should be fine. Nemesis, Ride Anytime. Nemesis is a true capacity monster. The 2-train operation and fast ride time means that queue moves up quickly, so you can pretty much ride at any point of the day, and as one of the best roller coasters in the park, it's also worth queuing for, so you don't really mind when you have to queue for it. And that's certainly true of Wicker Man, which is Ride Anytime. As the newest roller coaster and the lower height restriction, this one is definitely the top of the popularity contest. I would avoid the opening rush, but generally the queue times for Wicker Man remains consistent through the day, so it's one where you're going to have to commit to the queue. It's a good ride for capacity, so the queue moves up a lot and the wait never feels too long. Plus you have the pre-show towards the end of the queue which breaks up that wait time. So then, that's the best times in the day to ride the roller coasters at Alton Towers. I would prioritise Dark Forest or Forbidden Valley in the morning, knock out Spinball midday and X-Sector early afternoon. Wicker Man is good any time of the day, but definitely one to warm up and try towards the end of the day. It's also worth mentioning that Alton Towers, along with the other UK Merlin theme parks, have the policy that the entrance to the ride stays open until the park closing time, so you can join the queue line right up until park close. Even if the wait is still an hour or 2 hours, you will get on the ride. So I hope you found that helpful, but what order do you tackle the roller coasters in when you visit Alton Towers? If you've got your own advice for getting the shortest wait times, please do share them in the comments below so we can all learn from this experience. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, until next time, stay safe on the way out and back.